What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of NBA action here on Thursday, December 19th. We're going to break down every NBA game tonight and look at bets on the side and over-under, and we'll be adding player props to the pinned comment once injury reports are confirmed sometime after noon there on Thursday. If you want to win all of your bets today, hit that like button. It's good luck and shows support for the channel and all the hard work we're putting in every single day. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all NFL and college football videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that badge next to your comments keeps me fired up and motivated to make this channel even bigger and better. All of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NFL, NBA, NCAA football, UFC, NHL, and NCAA basketball. This is one of the best times of the year to be in the mix with so many sports going on. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up and also to join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Utah Jazz going on the road in this one to take on the Detroit Pistons. Jazz come into this game not exactly having the best time out there. They're fresh off a 144-107 beat-down loss there against the LA Clippers. They had to go from LA all the way to Detroit. They did play that game against the Clippers. What day was that? That was only a couple days ago. December 17th, so not a long turnaround, and they have to go all the way from coast to coast here pretty much. So yeah, not a great look. I mean, I guess it's not fully coast to coast, but it's not the most easy travel spot to go from LA all the way to Detroit. So we'll see if that has any impact on them. Obviously, they did not play great in that game. They had pretty much everybody available. Markkanen was a minus 25. Watching this guy languish on a terrible team kind of hurts my soul. We're seeing maybe even, Colin Sexton have a little bit of trouble. I mean, he had 15 very efficient points. I would love to see them trade him out of there, get him to a contender. Overall, they got, out rebounded. They didn't shoot the ball particularly well from three, and they played very little defense. So, yeah, not loving what we're seeing from the Jazz right now. I mean, they're fully healthy for this game, but a lot of these guys know they're at least somewhat on the trade block, and they also know they're supposed to be losing this year. They're 5-20 on the season. So things are looking pretty bleak here as they go on the road to take on the Pistons, who are kind of headed in at least slightly the opposite direction now. They're 11-16 on the year. They're fresh off a crazy 125-124 1-point win there over the Miami Heat. Crazy stuff in that one. We saw Jimmy Butler put up 35 points as he kind of auditions to get traded. We'll see how that whole saga shakes out. But yeah, big stuff from Cade Cunningham. Malik Beasley led the team with 28 points. He's had an amazing season. 19 there from Asar Thompson. He played really well. We saw that the Pistons shoot 50% there from three-point range. So yeah, getting that 1-point overtime win against the Miami Heat has to feel great. So we'll see if that can, that momentum can build for them. We see Ivy and Tobias Harris both here on the injury report. Ivy, he was a late scratch there in that Monday game against Miami. He ended up not playing. I think there's a good chance we see him back from this one. And Tobias Harris, guys, he didn't play there against the Heat. I think there's a decent chance we see him back for this one with that hand issue, but we don't know for sure if that's going to be the case, so definitely want to stay updated on that. Although Tobias Harris, I don't know if that really moves the needle a crazy amount for me. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Pistons are 4-point favorites. We got a total here of 228. Utah 6-7 against the spread when playing on the road. They're 9-4 to the over when playing on the road, however. Detroit 5-7 against the spread at home. They are 6-6 to the over/under at home. So first up, guys, I do think this is a spot you might want to look at taking the over. It is, maybe, a letdown shooting night for the Pistons, albeit, but I do think you want to be on the Pistons and possibly the over in this game. Is any of this making it into the pinned comment on this loaded slate? Probably not, but let's check back. I would say that over might have a chance. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Oklahoma City Thunder. They go on the road in this one to take on the Orlando Magic. The Thunder have to be pretty disappointed, guys, to come up so short and so small. They just couldn't hit a shot there against the Bucks in the NBA Cup Finals. Yeah, it was a tough look. Now they've got a quick turnaround. They got to play a nationally televised game here against the Magic, so we'll see what they can do. It was rough sledding out there for them against Milwaukee, guys. They shot only 15% from three-point range in the game. SGA ended up with 21 points to lead the way. Nobody on the bench scored more than 5 points. That's crazy for a very deep, very talented, team out there for OKC. Yeah, it was just rough. Dort, after a hot shooting night, ended up ice cold, 0 of 4 from 3 for him. Jalen Williams, he did score 18 points, but it wasn't the most efficient night, and yeah, it was just kind of a nightmare for the Thunder. So they're certainly in a bounce back spot here. It does appear that they're fully healthy. Obviously, they're not going to have Chet Holmgren back yet, so this is a team that's only going to get better as the season goes on, but they have to be very disappointed with how that ended. Are they going to be depressed here for a couple games, or are they going to be super motivated? time will tell, guys. And it's not like they've got the easiest opponent coming up. They've got to take on the Orlando Magic, who are obviously very, very far from full strength here. They lost against the New York Knicks there in the NBA Cup. Yeah, it was a decent game. We saw, they tried to do what they could. I mean, Mo Wagner put up 32 points. Very, very impressive stuff from him. Definitely, auditioning there for a bigger role in this offense, especially now, with things looking so bleak. Jalen Suggs, 32 minutes, but only 9 points. He was 4 of 19. It's just getting really, really tough here to figure out scoring and just who's going to run the offense and all that kind of stuff for this team. I mean, Jalen Suggs is kind of supposed to do it, but it's a big, big burden to be placing on his shoulders. They just miss their two best players. Like, your two best players go down, any team is going to have a pretty rough time. So we'll see if they can bounce back a little bit here. We don't even see Suggs there on the injury report. We do know he's dealing with, a thumb issue. Gary Harris is on there. We're not too worried about that. Really, the question for this team is, when are we going to see Franz Wagner back? When are we going to see, Paolo Banchero back? It feels like it's going to be still quite a while. So things looking kind of bleak for the Magic. They are getting 6.5 points, though, playing at home. We've got a total of 209.5. The Thunder, 8-4 against the spread on the road. They are 7-5 to the under on the road. Orlando, 9-2 against the spread at home. That's an NBA best mark at home. They're also 6-5 to the under at home. So you could look at that under 209.5. I'm not interested in that, though, guys. That basically requires this to be a rock fight. I do think this is a game you want to be on the Thunder in a bounce back spot. I'm going to be a little bit cautious. They could be depressed. I'm not going to write that off as, impossible. They could be a little bit depressed after coming up, weak in that, championship game there against the Bucks. But I think they bounce back here, get a comfortable win against a Magic team that really is just so far from full strength. It's almost not fair. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Charlotte Hornets. They come into this game 7-19 on the year to go on the road to take on the Washington Wizards. The Hornets have lost 2 in a row. They lost 121 to 108. A game that I thought they could keep much more competitive against the 76ers, who only had Maxey and Paul George, but yeah, couldn't really get the job done. They're 7-19 on the year. They are getting healthy. We did see LaMelo Ball come back for that game, and he didn't play terrible. Miles Bridges actually led the team in scoring. Ball, 5 of 15, 3 of 8 from 3, 15 points, a -10, but he had 11 assists, and he emerged from the game uninjured, so that's a pretty big deal. They did get out-rebounded here, against the 76ers when they didn't even have Embiid. That's not the best look, so yeah, the Hornets not exactly having an amazing time. We do see Brandon Miller and Trey Mann both on the injury report. Miller, he's dealing with an ankle issue. He's questionable for this game, and Trey Mann, he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks, dealing with that back issue, so he will certainly be out for this game as they go on the road to take on the Wizards, who are only 3-21 on the season, coming off of a 112-98, so a 14-point loss there against the Celtics. This is a team that's having a really rough time staying competitive. There's lots of rumors swirling. They might be sellers here at the trade deadline. In their last game, we saw all 5 starters scoring double figures, so I guess that's cool. Jordan Poole put up 21 points. He was actually a +6. There's trade rumors even surrounding him, which I would be kind of shocked if anybody wanted to take on that insane contract, but hey, we'll see what happens. Also, trade talks revolving around Kyle Kuzma. So we'll see what happens there for the Wizards. Coming into this game, we see Brogdon and Kuzma both listed as out. So is Kispert and Keyshawn George, but we'll see if all those guys actually end up out. Brogdon did practice there on Tuesday, so there's a chance he'll play. Kuzma dealing with a rib issue. He's ramping up his rehab, so maybe he's getting a little bit closer, but I do think he is truly out. Kispert was able to go through practice on Tuesday, so there's a chance he comes back. And Keyshawn George, guys, dealing with an ankle issue. He also practiced there on Tuesday. So we could see closer to the full strength Washington Wizards here. The odds makers have them getting 3.5 or 4 points. There's a total of 226.5. Charlotte 6-5 against the spread on the road. They're 6-5 to the under on the road, which is actually kind of shocking to me. Washington 4-9 against the spread at home. They are 7-6 to the under at home. Guys, I definitely think this is a great spot to hop on the Charlotte Hornets again, -3.5, a very reasonable price. You might want to jump on this early. I think there's a chance he'll play. I don't think it's a lock, but I also don't think it's the biggest deal if he doesn't play. I do not see the Wizards really keeping things very close in this one. They're a team that's looking to tank it out, and a lot of their guys are looking to maybe get traded here, so a lot of uncertainty there in the locker room. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the Chicago Bulls. They're going on the road in this game to take on the Boston Celtics. The Bulls come into this one fresh off of a crazy 122-121 win there at the Toronto Raptors. We saw Vucevic play very well in that game. 24 points from him, 10 of 17 from the field. He is doing a great job auditioning for other jobs out there in the NBA. We didn't see anything too incredible from any of the other starters. We did like we saw from Talen Horton-Tucker kind of reviving his career a little bit, looking decent off the bench. 15 points from him. But yeah, the Bulls have been a little bit banged up lately. They managed to get this win though, so that has to feel pretty good. They shot the ball relatively well from three, all that kind of stuff, but it hasn't been smooth sailing for this 12 and 15 team by any stretch. They do come into this game with some question marks there on the injury report. We see Giddey and Levine both on there. Giddey, he's didn't come back to the game against the Raptors there. That right ankle sprain, he rolled it and didn't look great. Levine, dealing with the back issue. He didn't play there against the Raptors. Will he play in this one? I think that kind of depends more on probably the trade situation than on whether or not he's actually fully healthy. So we'll see what happens there. I do not expect Giddey to play in this game, so for sure something to take into account. The Celtics come into this one fresh off a blowout win there against the Wizards. They've actually only won 2 out of their last 3. They lost against Memphis, but at 21-5, this team is absolutely cruising along. Not a whole lot of notes for me here for the Boston Celtics. Like, they don't have to change too much. I do think it's a little bit, I don't know if disingenuous is the right word, but I don't love all the hate the Celtics are getting for, shooting so many threes. They're just trying to play the game the way they think they can score the most points. And if it works, then it works. If the rules get changed, then cool, I'm sure they'll adapt. Love what we're seeing from Peyton Pritchard this year. 15 points, a plus 17 from him. All the starters scored in double figures. Like, yeah, guys, I'm sure this is all big news to you. The Boston Celtics are really good at basketball right now. The injury report also looking pretty clean. Porzingis is on there. He's questionable with his heel issue. Yeah, he's always going to be a little bit questionable. I don't know if they're really going to be wanting to push him out there for anything. Definitely a guy they are more worried about having ready to go for the playoffs than for regular season games against the Chicago Bulls. So looking at the numbers for this one, we see the Celtics are 14.5-point favorites. We've got a total here of 243.5. The Bulls 7-6-1 against the spread on the road. They're 9-5 to the over on the road. Boston 5-9 against the spread at home, so not great against the spread at home, and they're 8-6 to the over at home. Guys, in this game, I'm leaning more towards the Bulls and the points than anything else. I need more clarity here on the injury report, though. If Levine is playing, that makes me think we can pretty safely take the Bulls and the points here. If he's not, we might have to, just shade towards the Celtics or just avoid this game entirely. With both teams showing trends towards the over, maybe you could take over 243.5, but that is a big number. So overall, this is a game I'm probably not going to have that much interest in, although there could be some player props coming down the road. Next up, guys, we got the Brooklyn Nets. They come into this game fresh off of a blowout loss at the hand of the Cavaliers. They are clearly, switching full on into tank mode. They had to get Dennis Schroeder out of town. He was making them too good. And I guess that's kind of a compliment. Now he gets to go play for a much better team and a much more successful organization. The Brooklyn's lost 3 in a row and 6 out of their last 7. They come into this game with Cam Thomas there on the injury report. Seems pretty unlikely that he's going to be, ready to play in this game. Dealing with that hamstring issue, he still has not been cleared for contact. So he's not going to be playing. We'll see how much they're actually willing to play Cameron Johnson and guys like that are definitely going to be involved here in plenty of trade talk. So we'll see what they can do going on the road to take on the Toronto Raptors, who are on a 5-game losing streak of their own, obviously coming off that loss against the Bulls. That probably didn't feel amazing to lose by 1 point. They're wasting a very good RJ Barrett season. He put up 32 points in the loss. Great stuff from him. Grady Dick played really well. 27 points, a plus 15 out there for him. And yeah, this team is looking pretty decent. If they were fully healthy, I think they'd be a scary team out there in the East, but they haven't really been fully healthy all season long, guys. Right now, we see them, still dealing with some injuries. Scotty Barnes going to be out. Jakob Poeltl also very likely to be out. Bruce Brown should be getting relatively close to returning, but yeah, we're not going to see, apparently Scotty Barnes is going to be questionable for this game, so I guess there's supposed to be a chance, but I think it's pretty unlikely he ends up playing. Jakob Poeltl not going to play, and Bruce Brown apparently not ready to come back quite yet. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Raptors are 4-point favorites here playing at home. We've got a total of 219. Brooklyn's actually 9-4-1 against the spread on the road. That's an NBA best, against the spread on the road mark. But Toronto 10-3-1 against the spread at home. Very good stuff. Toronto's also a significant over team at home, and with a total here of only 219, I think this is a great over spot for sure. I definitely like the over in this game. I also like the Raptors here at -4 a little bit, but my main lead in this game definitely going to be the over. I think we'll see plenty of offense from these two teams. They were really not, very incentivized to be playing defense given where their, two franchises are headed at the moment. Next on the docket, we're looking at the New Orleans Pelicans. They're going on the road in this game to take on the Houston Rockets. The Pelicans kind of having a season from hell right now. Obviously Zion being out all year and just tons and tons of injuries for this team have decimated. Like this franchise is in poverty mode right now. I don't know. It's getting very, very bleak. They're fresh off a 119-104 loss there against the Indiana Pacers. Just a bad game, and they've had lots of them, guys. I mean, Deontay Murray doing what he can, Trey Murphy III doing what he can, Herb Jones, he's out there. CJ McCollum playing okay, but mediocre. Like, it's looking like this is going to be a big, big trade target kind of team. Seems like they're looking to move Brandon Ingram most of all, but they've already come out and announced basically no one is untouchable here for the Pelicans. So we'll see what happens here down the stretch. This team really, really in bad shape. Looking at the depth chart, it does appear that we're not going to have Brandon Ingram back anytime soon. Jordan Hawkins is also out, so it's kind of what you see is what you get from this team, but it is not going well at the moment. So we'll see what they can do on the road against the Houston Rockets, who had to be pretty disappointed there to lose against the Thunder, 111-96. Clearly the better team won. This Rockets team is very, very interesting, guys. They play really hard. They play incredible defense, but the offense is just a huge work in progress all the time. It is rare that I see Fred VanVleet look like his size is kind of taking him out of the game, but in that matchup against the Thunder there in the NBA Cup semifinals, it was very clear that he was undersized out there. Just couldn't get his shots off. Like, it was very, very hard to watch. In general, they just had a very bad night offensively. So that does leave them in something of a bounce back spot here for sure. In terms of, the injury situation, we do see VanVleet on there. He's listed as day-to-day. He didn't practice during the, main portion of practice there on Tuesday that was open to the media, but it sounds like he's going to be, out there and good to go for this one. So I don't think there's any major concerns about his availability for this game. And looking at the numbers, that kind of backs it up, guys. The Rockets are 10 or 10.5 point favorites. We've got a total here of 217.5. New Orleans only 3-11 against the spread on the road. That's an NBA worst number. They're also 8-6 to the under on the road. Houston 9-4 against the spread at home and 6-1 to the over/under at home. I think this is a decent spot to be on the Rockets. It's too many points for me to put this in the pinned comment, but I do think they're going to be pretty upset and pretty motivated here, and I don't think the Pelicans have much fight left in them at this point, so slightly lean towards the Rockets, but I just don't trust them to win this game by double digits. Next on the docket, guys, we've got one of the most interesting games of the night. It's a little bit surprising to see this one didn't make it onto the TNT slate or the national television slate, but we've got the Golden State Warriors going on the road to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. The Warriors have actually lost 2 in a row coming into this one. That tough 1-point loss where they blew that game in the NBA Cup against the Rockets, and their last time out, a 143-133 loss there against Dallas. The Warriors came out pretty flat there in the first quarter, were immediately down by 13 points. They fought their way back to make the game at least semi-competitive, but man, it was a bit rough out there. Kuminga did put up 20 points. We saw 29 from Wiggins, 26 from Curry. The Warriors didn't see enough that they liked, though, to do anything, besides go out and add Schroeder. Draymond had 21 in the game. Pretty crazy to see him putting up 9 threes and 14 field goal attempts overall. So we'll see if that kind of aggressive offensive play continues for him. I kind of tend to doubt it. We'll also see if Schroeder is ready to go for this game. He's already there with the team, so there's definitely a chance that we could see him, I would imagine. I'd be kind of shocked if there's no chance. He's listed right now in the injury report as day-to-day. Obviously, he's not injured, but yeah, he officially wasn't going to play in Sunday's game against the Mavericks. There is a chance he plays in this one against the Grizzlies. So yeah, check into that, see how that goes. Obviously, it'll be his first game with a new team. Other than him, the Warriors are looking very much healthy and ready to go, except for Moses Moody. He's on the injury report as well. He's going to be doubtful for this game. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, I think it's pretty unlikely that he's going to play. Their opponent in this game, the Grizzlies, a team that Schroeder and the Grizzlies have plenty of beef going on. Memphis 18-9 on the season. They're fresh off of a 116-110 loss to the Lakers. Not a team you're supposed to be losing to right now if you want to be taken seriously as a contender. We saw decent stuff from Ja, very good stuff from Jaren Jackson Jr., but Desmond Bane had an off shooting night. As a team, Memphis shot only 32% from three-point range, so that's not going to get the job done against very many teams. Even the Lakers, they had no answers out there for Anthony Davis, who had a 40.16 rebound performance. So yeah, not looking super convincing right now for the Grizzlies, but they have won 4 out of their last 5, so I'm not going to talk too much crap on them. In terms of their injury report, they're looking very, very healthy for this game, so things are pretty much lining up the way the Grizzlies would want, and they're at home for this game. Guys, the Grizzlies are 3.5 or 4-point favorites. We got a total of 237. The Warriors are 8-5 against the spread on the road, so pretty respectable, but Memphis 11-4 against the spread at home. Mixed trends here towards the over-under. Not too interested in that 237 over-under mark, but I do like the Grizzlies here to win this game pretty comfortably. I think it'll take some time for the Warriors and Schroeder to get used to each other if he plays, and if not, I just don't think the Warriors have enough elite level talent to handle Ja and the Grizzlies. Moving right along, guys, we are looking at the Atlanta Hawks. They're going on the road in this one to take on the San Antonio Spurs. The Hawks are 14-13 on the season. They're fresh off a tough 110-102 loss there against the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Cup. A good run there by the Hawks for sure. A nice win for them against the Knicks, but then coming up short against Giannis and company. Can't feel too bad considering how well that team is playing right now. I mean, we saw good stuff from Trae Young. He played amazing in that game. 35 points, 10 assists. He also didn't, do too much taking the ball out of the hands of his, just all of his help out there has been really, really good. DeAndre Hunter, a good, a good season so far. Not the best game there against Milwaukee, but overall, I think things are definitely looking up here for the Atlanta Hawks. Great defensive play, and his offense is coming along there for Dyson Daniels. This is going to be a very scary team that nobody really wants to face, I would assume, for the rest of the season out there in the East. So we'll see what the Hawks can do down the stretch. They look very, very healthy coming into this game. I think they'll be maybe not super, super motivated, after getting knocked off there by the Bucks, but I do think this is definitely going to be a motivated team here as they go on the road to take on the San Antonio Spurs, who are fresh off a 106-92 loss there against the Timberwolves. They had a little 2-game winning streak going, but when you beat the Pelicans by 5 and the Trailblazers by 2, I don't think it's exactly time to, start, popping bottles. I don't think it's a great sign of your team's, strength right now. In the loss, guys, they had very few answers there for Anthony Edwards. Wemby put up 20 points, but he was only 1 of 7 from 3 and 8 of 20 from the field. 12 boards, 5 assists, 7 blocks, yada, yada. The dude is an alien, but it did not translate into winning. We saw Sohan shoot the ball well, 15 rebounds, great stuff from him. Chris Paul, 0 points. He was a +2 out there. He had 9 assists, but he was 0 of 5 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. Something's wrong with Chris Paul, and I think the problem might be he's a million years old. So we'll see what the Spurs can do to put something together here down the stretch this season. I don't know if they'll be active there at the trade deadline or anything like that, but it's looking a little bit problematic right now for San Antonio. They come into this game, relatively healthy. Keldon Johnson, Zach Collins, both there on the injury report. So is Trey Jones. He's listed as out for this game. Keldon Johnson, he's actually probable to play now against the Hawks. They've updated that. And Zach Collins, with his ongoing back stuff, he is questionable. Do either one of those guys matter to me a ton? I would say Keldon Johnson does. I don't think Zach Collins matters too much. So looking at the numbers for this one, I'm pretty surprised to see the Spurs are 1-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 233.5. The Hawks only 7-6 against the spread on the road. They're 7-6 to the over on the road as well. San Antonio 7-9 against the spread at home and 8-8 to the over/under at home. I think this is definitely a spot we want to be on the Hawks, getting 1 point here. Just take them on the money line because, they've been the better team over the course of the season pretty much. San Antonio's had some bright spots. They are 13-13 on the year, but the Hawks come into this game playing much, much better. San Antonio's barely been squeaking by some of the worst teams out there in the West. Go ahead and give me Atlanta here on the road. I think it's a pretty good spot for them. Next up, guys, we've got another marquee matchup that I'm a little bit surprised isn't a primetime game. We've got the LA Clippers going on the road to take on the Dallas Mavericks. The Clippers at 15-12 can't be too upset with the way their season is going. They're fresh off a blowout 144-107, losing streak, snapping win there against the Utah Jazz. Obviously, they played great in that game. It was a little bit concerning to see them lose against the Nuggets, Rockets, and Timberwolves before that. But hey, they're taking care of business against the bad teams. And, if you struggle occasionally against the good teams, I guess that's kind of whatever. But, this is a team, I don't know if they really have aspirations. I don't know if there's anything they can do at the trade deadline or anything like that. So we'll see what happens with the Clippers right now. I think they're pretty much where they're going to be. But they've got some pieces. Harden can play really well. Norman Powell has played amazing in general this season, and Zubac is even making a name for himself also. The Clippers come into this game. They're going to be missing Derrick Jones Jr. They're also likely to be missing Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann, he's, he had surgery on his middle finger. Okay, I hadn't heard yet that he was going to have surgery for sure. So, he's going to be reevaluated in 3 weeks. So, going to be a bit before he's back. Missing Derrick Jones Jr. is a big deal for this team. He's got a right hamstring strain. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. Missing your best perimeter defender is obviously a huge deal in today's NBA. So we'll see what happens there. Definitely some holes now for this Clippers team to try and plug. I don't think Amir Coffey or Nicholas Batum is exactly going to jump in and be a premium level perimeter defender. So some question marks there for the Clippers, especially in this matchup against the Mavericks, who are now 17-9 on the season, fresh off that 10-point win against the Warriors with that 3-point number breaking game. Pretty crazy stuff. A nice bounce back for the Mavs after getting bounced out of the NBA Cup. Liked what we saw from Luka, 45 points. Obviously, he played amazing, very high usage. Kyrie played well, only 1 of 4 from 3, but Clay really came alive. A +21, 29 points from him, 7 of 11 there from 3. One of his best games as a Maverick. Playing back back there at home against the Warriors, or what used to be at home for him. Yeah, a very nice day. And we also saw Dallas shoot 52% from three-point range. So are they in for a letdown? Maybe. But is there anybody that can really guard Luka, Kyrie, and Clay on the perimeter there for the Clippers? Seems a little bit problematic to me. We do see, the Mavs, they come into this game. I would say they're relatively, healthy, but we do see some question marks. I mean, Luka and Kyrie, they're on the injury report a lot, but they don't miss that many games. Luka didn't practice there on Wednesday with his heel issue, so got to keep an eye on his availability. Kyrie dealing with his shoulder, but he did practice on Wednesday, so I think we'll see him. But yeah, it is questionable whether or not we're going to end up seeing Luka in this game. So obviously have to know about that. I'd also really like to know about Najee Marshall, guys. He was listed as day-to-day. He did practice on Tuesday. He's dealing with an illness, so it sounds like, by Thursday that should pretty much have run its course. He should be good to go. So looking at the numbers for this one, obviously we're going to need a little bit more clarity, but I do think you want to be on the Mavs minus 6.5. I mean, both teams are 7-4 against the spread in this specific situation. We also see both teams showing trends towards the under, which is a bit shocking, but I'm not taking under 226.5 in this game. There is no way you're talking me into that. So go ahead and give me the Mavs minus 6.5. This is a play that has a chance to end up in the pinned comment, but we got to know whether or not Luka is playing before we can have a real lean on that. Moving right along through this very deep NBA slate, guys, we've got the Indiana Pacers going on the road to take on the Phoenix Suns. The Pacers come into this game 12-15 on the season, fresh off a blowout win there against the Pelicans, but it has been far from smooth sailing here for the Pacers, who are supposed to be, the next team up there in the East, and that just has not been the case, mostly thanks to Halliburton having a horrible season so far. We'll see if they can bounce back a little bit. I mean, in a blowout win against the very lowly Pelicans, we saw Siakam put up 22, Halliburton put up 21, so, some positive things. As a team, they shot 42% from three. That's a good step in the right direction. They did get out-rebounded, though. That's not an amazing look. They are getting a little bit healthier, so that's good, but yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm still not 100% sold on the Pacers. I'm going to need to see some success against some better teams than squads like the, very decimated New Orleans Pelicans. So we'll see if that happens. They do look very healthy coming into this game. We've got Nembhard, Mathurin, good to go. Toppin and McConnell playing well off the bench. So they should be in as good of a spot as you can really ask them to be in terms of health. Are they going to be able to handle business here going on the road to take on the Phoenix Suns, who come into this game winners of the last two in a row, beating the Jazz and the Trailblazers, though? Not too special, and winning those games by 7 and 8 points, respectively. Also not that special. So I'm not going to say we're very high on the Suns right now. I mean, we saw Booker put up 28 points in the win over Portland. We saw, decent stuff there from KD, although he's only 1 of 9 from 3. Not his best shooting night, but 7 rebounds, 7 assists make it look a little bit better. Nurkic is back, 10 points, 14 rebounds. Okay, he's kind of doing what they need. I don't know, guys. This bench still doesn't look amazing. Grayson Allen shot the ball 4 of 13 from the field, but 4 of 9 from 3. Okay. I'm just not sold on this Phoenix Suns team. I feel like they need to make a move. There's talks of Bradley Beal deals, but who really wants Bradley Beal at this point? So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens with the Suns. They come into this game healthy, except for Bradley Beal. He's currently, dealing with that knee issue. He was a full participant in practice on Wednesday, so I guess he will probably play in this one. How much does that help them or hurt them? That's a little bit still up in the air, to be honest. Not somebody that I'm super high on this season. Look at the numbers for this game. We see the Suns are 6.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 235.5. The Pacers only 5-10 against the spread on the road. They're 8-6-1 to the over on the road. The Suns 4-9 against the spread at home. They're 8-5 to the under at home. Guys, I'm leaning towards the Pacers and the points in this game. Maybe I'm getting lulled into a false sense of them being better by the fact they're beating up on a couple bad teams, but the Suns haven't been beating these bad teams by much anyway, so give me the Pacers here. I think they've got a shot in this game against the Suns team that really just doesn't get me going. Next on the docket, we've got the New York Knicks. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Knicks come into this game 16-10 on the season, fresh off a 100-91 win there at the Orlando Magic. So a nice win there. The Knicks, I feel like they're still trying to figure some things out. They've played some good games. They've got some bad games every once in a while. This team has definitely taken a step back on defense, but a big step forward there on offense. So we'll see what that shakes out to be in the long run. In that win over the Magic, big game there from Jalen Brunson. 31 points from him, but only a +3. 22 points from Cat. He shot only 1 of 3 from 3, but had 22 rebounds in the game. Like, the dude is rebounding out of his freaking mind this season. It's been very, very impressive. Obviously, they're still not, completely a full-strength team, but, they're getting closer, and I'm not seeing insane improvement. I didn't love what we saw from the bench in this game. Like, Miles McBride, only 7 points. Yeah, it's, I don't know. Is this an improved team from last season? I have a little bit of trouble believing that that's the case. So we'll see what they can do in this matchup. They come into this game healthy. No Mitchell Robinson back yet, obviously. But other than that, they're looking, very much ready to go as they go on the road to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are 14 and 11 on the season. They've played really well recently. They've won 6 out of their last 7 overall. They come into this game fresh off a win over the Spurs. They did lose against the Warriors, but they went 1-1 in that series, and they won the important cup game. So I guess they'll take that. A nice win against the Spurs. Obviously not the toughest opponent, but they handled that one fairly comfortably. A decent day out there from Anthony Edwards, no doubt about that. Good to see him taking back over leadership of this team. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was a plus 28 coming off the bench. The Timberwolves won this game comfortably despite shooting only 34.3% from three-point range, only 40% from the field, thanks in large part to, just Anthony Edwards playing really, really well. They got a few more free throw attempts, but yeah, it was just a very good game, and their bench played really, really well in this one. Do I think they improved their team with their trade in the offseason? I absolutely do not, but hey, what are you going to do? Looking at their injury report here, they look fully healthy. Joe Ingles the only one on there, and we don't care if old man Joe Ingles is back or not. Conley's healthy, Rudy Gobert is healthy, Anthony Edwards is healthy, and Julius Randle's out there to stop the ball every time he touches it. So we'll see how things go. This is a team that has been floated in a lot of trade rumors here, so maybe that could have some impact. But looking at the numbers, we see the Timberwolves are 2.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 214.5. Obviously, this is a homecoming game for Karl Anthony Towns. I do think he's going to struggle in this game, and I don't like the Knicks defense really. The Knicks are only 6-8 against the spread on the road. They're 8-6 to the over on the road. Minnesota 4-8 against the spread at home, but they are 7-5 to the under at home. I'm not interested in the over-under in this game, but I am very interested in the Timberwolves at -2.5. I think they find a way to make things happen in this game. I don't think, they're going to have a great time slowing down Anthony Edwards. I do worry about Cat a lot in this spot, too. I don't think he's going to have a good night. Doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's going to thrive going back to his old stomping grounds. I think he'll have, an off shooting night probably. The rebounding numbers, I'm sure, will still be there, but I think we could see a couple more dumb Karl Anthony Towns fouls. So, yeah, go ahead and give me the Timberwolves here at -2.5. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we're looking at the Denver Nuggets. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Portland Trail Blazers. Denver comes into this game winners of 3 in a row. They just took down the Kings by a single point. A very, very cool game down the stretch there. Eventually, Denver coming away with the win, but yeah, it was crazy. I mean, Murray and Jokic, that two-man game, sealing the win there. A triple-double for Jokic. He's playing absolutely insane. Maybe the best basketball we've seen in like a normal lifetime, because it is just getting crazy. 20 points, 14 boards, 13 assists. He does absolutely everything for this team, and he's still finding a way to get them some wins, even though there's very little help out there for him. Aaron Gordon shot the ball pretty well and played pretty well, 24 points from him. Jamal Murray had his best game of the season, 28 points and a +10. Is any of that sustainable? We will have to wait and see, because it hasn't looked like that most of the time this season. In terms of the injury report, we do see Christian Brown on there. He's listed as day-to-day, or no, he didn't play in that game against the Kings. We'll see if he's back for this one against the Trailblazers as he deals with that back issue. Portland, obviously one of the hardest tanking teams out there. They're only 8-18 on the season, so they haven't been that great at tanking, but the last few games have looked good for them in terms of losing. They've lost, 6 in a row now, losing to the Suns, Spurs, Lakers, Jazz. Like losing to the Jazz in a blowout, how do you even do that? Blown out by the Clippers, and a close loss against the Mavericks. So we'll see if they are trying in this one. They kept things pretty close against the Suns. Anthony Simons, a decent day out there, but yeah, it's looking pretty bleak. I'm not going to lie. Lots of reasons to think Scoot Henderson's not an NBA level player, which is pretty depressing. I thought he was going to be good, and that does not appear to be the case. So yeah, not a lot of amazing things happening right now for Portland. In terms of their injury report, they are healthy. Ayton is on there. He's right now listed as day-to-day with an illness. We'll see if he comes back. There's no way they're hustling anybody back here, though. So we'll see what happens. Portland getting 8.5 points here playing at home. It seems like an awful lot of points to me. I mean, Denver is playing better, don't get me wrong, but are they playing enough better that they should be that big of favorites? They have not played each other yet this season, so we'll see what happens. I'm leaning a little bit towards Portland and the points, which feels pretty gross, so this will not be a game that ends up in the pinned comment. Last but not least, guys, we're looking at the Los Angeles Lakers. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Sacramento Kings. The Lakers come into this game fresh off a big 116-110 statement win over the Grizzlies. We saw, LeBron come back and look pretty decent, pretty motivated. Like, he played well in this game, 18 points, 3 of 6 from 3, which is a good look. He was a 0 on the plus-minus, but still, he was back. Austin Reeves is back and playing pretty well. Rui Hachimura was a +13 despite scoring only 8 points, but the real story here was Anthony Davis scoring 40 points, putting up 16 rebounds, and really willing this team to a win. If you could get this kind of effort from Anthony Davis on a nightly basis, this Lakers team would be much scarier, but that's not the case. The bench also continues to look pretty mediocre. D'Angelo Russell, 2 of 6 from 3, 7 points, a -7 coming off the pine. Just not a lot of amazing positives. They did win this game despite shooting 30% from three-point range, but you just can't count on this kind of production from Anthony Davis on a nightly basis. So we'll see if they get anything close to that. They are healthy coming into this game, so that is a very big deal as they go on the road to take on the Kings, who are fresh off of that disappointing 1-point loss. They had won 3 in a row, but against pretty bad teams. So yeah, not a shocker to see them lose here against the Nuggets. Not the toughest team out there either. Now they got to take on the Lakers. They do get to play this game at home, so I guess that's something positive, but I just have not loved what I've seen from the Kings here in the new DeMar DeRozan era. I mean, we saw Fox put up 29 points in the loss, Sabonis 28. DeRozan, he was 7 of 18 from the field, 0 of 1 from three-point range. Why you would introduce a guy, a non-three-point shooter, into this team that already has a closer? Like, that's the main value of DeMar DeRozan. You need somebody to close games. DeMar DeRozan can knock down those mid-ranges late in the game. Cool. That doesn't matter if it screws up the entire style that your team wants to play. So we'll see if they can figure things out. Obviously, Sabonis and Fox playing well, but that is not going to be enough to overcome DeRozan if he's in there kind of messing everything up. So we'll see how it goes. The Kings come into this game a little banged up. We see Murray and Sabonis both on the injury report. Herter is also on the injury report. Murray, dealing with that ankle issue, did not practice on Wednesday, so definitely a chance we don't see him in this game. Sabonis didn't practice for undisclosed reasons. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Maybe some sort of personal deal, so we got to keep a very close eye on what's going on with Sabonis. Herter dealing with a shoulder issue, but he practiced, so I think he'll probably be good to go out there. Looking at the numbers, we see the Kings are 4.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 231.5. The Lakers only 4-10 against the spread on the road, but the Kings are only 4-9 against the spread at home. Both teams showing mixed trends here towards the over/under. I'm leaning towards the Lakers and the points on the spot. I just don't trust the Kings right now. I don't really trust LeBron and AD, but I do think they're motivated right now. So give me the Lakers getting 4.5 on the road. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action. Also, there should be, hopefully there is, a college basketball video posted over on more Stump the Spread, so get over there and check out our secondary channel if you're interested in that.